Hello, hello. Good morning, everyone. Good evening, good afternoon. Oh, going to grab some coffee. I'm right here myself with the Earl Grey tea. I think I oversteeped it. It's a little bitter. Or maybe the water was too hot. From Fort Lauderdale, Seth. Welcome back. You were with us, I believe, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, on May the 4th, with Patrick. Gordon will be with me shortly. His system is loading. Patrick, who was with us on the 4th, is yes, there we go. Patrick is in the audience. He's a moderator today, so he'll be also answering questions in the YouTube live chat. Good morning from Los Angeles. Hello. De Paris. Hello. Bonjour. Sacramento. I won't be able to do all the languages, like English and French. That's about it. Hi, Ethan. Is my voice good for everyone? Is it a little low? I played around with my settings earlier, so I don't know what I'm sounding like. Oh. Audio's great. Excellent. Okay, well, shouldn't be much longer. Just trying to load the app. Got a blank screen, oddly. Okay. Well, the idea today, as just similarly as we did on May the 4th, be with you with Patrick, was build a bot. Right, we'll do the same concept today. We'll dedicate today to going into knowledge bases in depth with Gordon, following the announcement. So we publicly announced and released the knowledge bases with Sylvain last week. So this week's about that. I know we had a lot of questions coming in the live stream. We didn't have a chance to address many of them. So this week today is about that with Gordon. Okay, Gordon seems to be in with us here. I'll add him on to the stream now. There we go.
Hey, hello, Jesse.
Hi. All right, Gordy, you're with us.
Awesome. That's great.
It's
Good
much
to
better
be
than
here.
our.
Good to be here.
Excellent. So it's much. Do we have a delay this time, or I think we're good? No, we're good. Excellent.
No, I think
Okay.
we're perfect.
Awesome. So yeah, we're using this new tool. It's working great. There's some little loading issues for some reason. Do you have like a plant in there, or is that okay? No, it's just your cup actually has a picture on it. I thought there was a plant growing it. You were watering it. And you were
Yeah.
gonna sip
Well,
from your.
it's a cat in a garden. I'm watering my little cat garden here as I'm watering myself. It's a metaphor for self-love kind of thing. It's nice.
That's great. For the live stream today, did you change rooms? Usually we don't have that nice windowed view when we speak.
Yeah, usually I punch in and I zoom the shot a little bit so it's just me and the blank white void. Um, but for today, because it's office hours, you guys are actually in my office and we get to see it's nighttime now, but especially when I start working, it's right around sunset and the sunset's right over the ocean over there and it's perfect.
Wow, we're gonna need a view of that in daytime.
All right.
So it's what time is it for you
Perhaps,
now?
perhaps it's 11 at night. I'm 12 hours in your future, so I know everything that's going to happen already. At least for the next
So
12 hours compared
I
to you.
won't be able to surprise you today. I'll have to work extra hard.
Nope. No
No, won't
surprises. Sorry
happen.
about that, Jesse.
Okay. All right. So as I was explaining to the audience, to everyone with us here today, well, it's bot building, right? It's the concept of the office hours is that we build bots. And since we did the official announcement of the knowledge bases last week, we had lots of questions about that.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna build our bot today, and we're gonna really dive deep there into knowledge bases, like a lot more depth than we could have possibly done in the 20 minutes we had for the announcement. And the special session we did with 3 weeks ago, was it? With Patrick, we did some knowledge bases. We did occupy lots of time there, but then we really wanted to go into the AI task and cover a little more on multiple topics of bot building. So we're started with you. Finally, happy, glad to have you here.
Yeah.
Kicking it off, the first
Thank
of many
you.
series that we're going to do. We're planning on doing this at least every second week at the same time, 11 on Thursday. We'll do our best to keep that pattern and that routine up, and we'll be collecting a lot of feedback and a lot of questions as we go to help us with what we're going to do next. So we'll kickstart it with knowledge base. We have a few questions there that I don't want to ignore at the same time. Would love to see examples of how to preserve context for GPT conversations. That's actually a great question. We've been getting that one. Well, most questions are great.
Yep.
I'm going to sound like a salesperson here. That's a great question. That's a great question. You're going to hear me throughout the entire stream. That's a great question.
Oh, it's so great. It's a wonderful question. Thank you so much for asking that question, Jesse. I'm really happy you brought that up.
But I mean, at the same time, I mean, a question's also feedback, and we use it, bring us back to the product team, and we iterate on that and develop the product with all that feedback. So preserving context for GPT. So people are coming into Botpress and want to build a chat GPT like chatbot, and you start having a conversation with your Botpress, and then you don't have the history. It doesn't remember the last turn. So I know that something's coming up in the product to help with that. Don't exactly know which form that's going to present itself, but there is a workaround today for that.
There is. It does involve a little bit of code, though. Well, there's an easy way, and then there's a more optimized way with code.
Okay, right.
We
So
can
that
get into
like the
that when we build
execute
the bot
core.
later.
Yeah. I'm gonna not
Yep.
table the question, but we'll get to that question. Okay, so how to keep
I'm gonna make
the
a
context
quick
for
note
GPT.
here.
All right. Well, that would be something that we can do in a hook or like in an execute code card. Well, one of those two or both. We'll see that. If you're looking for, let's see. Okay. Same question here. Okay, we had that same question as well. I could have highlighted the question on the screen here.
You could. Yeah.
I want to add
This
text to
fancy new
speech.
tool has a button for that.
Yes, it does. Here, I want to add text to speech to chatbot. Planning on upgrade. We've heard that there may be, and I'm getting my high pitched voice here,
Yeah,
some kind of
yeah.
voice integrating natively in Botpress. Can't talk too much about that, but for sure,
Yeah,
there's going to
yeah.
be a way with integrations that are on the way.
Yes.
We've recently opened up some beta testing to the integrations, so people will be able to bring their own text to speech, speech to text tooling and get that working in Botpress through a custom integration that could eventually
Yes.
even be shared with the community. I mean, I'm pushing my luck here.
Hopefully.
Yeah. So let's go into it, Gordon. We'll start talking about knowledge bases
Let's.
a bit. I'll share my screen, and we'll follow somewhat the same
All right.
format. The same format we did with Patrick. I'll share my screen. You
Okay.
guide me around. Walk me through it. Teach me like
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
four. I'll ask some questions because I mean, you've spent a lot of time in knowledge bases. Patrick spent a lot of time in it, and
Yes.
I'm discovering it through you guys.
Okay.
I'll show this on stream.
All right.
Okay. Maybe a
Yep.
quick
See your
check
screen.
is it for those on YouTube, is the size good enough? Maybe I can zoom in if necessary. Just drop a comment or a message. I'll zoom in. I heard that possibly on the announcement we did last week, it was a little small.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So for this here, we'll just start by we're creating a new chatbot from scratch. So I'll just create a new chatbot, and then it opens in another window. So I'll bring it over here, edit. Just a short moment. I'll change my URL. Okay. So I'm creating a new bot. We changed the onboarding process here to allow you to select the language in which you'd
Yes.
like your chatbot. We'll continue in English. We'll
And
start.
let's.
Go ahead. Yep.
Well, let's start here. Let's start here because there's a couple of options here that, well, they have their own different use cases here. We've got three choices: answer questions from documents, answer questions from website, and start from a template. We added this pop-up to the onboarding flow to help make it a little bit faster and easier to get started with your very first knowledge base, because that's what those first two options will do. They will create a knowledge base with a different source. Before we get too far into this, because Jesse, you are being the little 4-year-old, and I'm explaining it to you from the very start, I want to take a moment and talk about what is a knowledge base and what is a source. Because to us normal conversational English, they do sound like they're both a very similar thing. A document can be both a knowledge base and a source of knowledge. So what all is the difference? In terms of Botpress, a knowledge base is a kind of collection of information about a topic that is accessible to the bot. And a source is almost a container of information that lives inside of the knowledge base. So the big group is knowledge base, and then the source is a smaller component inside of a larger knowledge base. And in a bot, you can have multiple knowledge bases and multiple sources within knowledge bases. It's a really cool kind of modular system. Your knowledge bases, they do work well when you have multiple knowledge bases, especially if they are divided by the subject, right? You've got one knowledge base for, say, you're a retail store and you've got a knowledge base of your products, then another knowledge base of your store policies. That works. You could also combine them and have one knowledge base of everything about your store, and there's a source that's your product list and a source that's your policies. That can also work. For this spot and with this little knowledge onboarding part, the first two options will create a brand new knowledge base and put a source inside of that knowledge base. The difference being the first option, the source will be a PDF or a docx or another text-based document that you upload. And the second option, it will be a website that you pull from to fill your knowledge base. And then the third option goes to some advanced stuff.
Okay, so we'll choose one from here. In this case, do we just start from a template, or would
Yeah,
we like to go? We'll start from a template from scratch. Like we didn't select one
yeah,
accidentally,
okay.
and we want to get started with our knowledge base. And this is where
Let's
once
do
we
that.
get that, when we do that, this is where all the questions are going to come up. How do I prioritize? Which
All
knowledge
right.
base will answer, and which source in that knowledge base, because we can have multiple sources in a KB, is going to answer. How do we control the
Yes.
responses? How do we scope which knowledge bases will answer? Because maybe we want to filter out some knowledge bases given the context of the conversation. So many fun
Yeah.
questions. So I'll start with a basic empty bot here, and we'll say
Yep.
hello.
Hey, that's a nice looking recipe finder template too.
Ah, yes, yes. The Gordy YouTube series. There's 10 videos on building your very own recipe bot using Spoontacular. Do you want to promote that, Gordon?
Spoonacular. Yeah.
Spoonacular, yes.
We could spoonacular. Yeah. Um, yeah, it's a great little YouTube series. Fun thing, I guess a coincidence, Jesse, is about a week or so after that video series had started been released, OpenAI released or announced a ChatGPT plugin with Spoonacular, where if you've got ChatGPT Pro, ChatGPT can look up recipes on Spoonacular and bring them right back to you and display them in a nice little carousel kind of thing. And I'm like, hey, they copied me. I did that.
I beat you to it.
Can't blame them. It's a great idea.
Fast followers. All right.
Yes,
Uh,
indeed, indeed.
Good
So,
afternoon.
yeah.
Good afternoon.
Afternoon.
We have a
All
new
right.
viewer. All right. Okay.
Cool. Brand new bot.
Brand new
Clean
bot,
bot.
and we have
It's
nothing
beautiful.
in
It's
here.
wonderful.
Okay. We have,
Absolutely clean. Squeaky clean.
and then we have a
Let's
hello
add
that
a
came
knowledge
in.
base.
Get no answers. Wow,
Not
a
even
little
a, I don't
daunting.
know. This is pure blank canvas. Pure blank canvas.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. So we want to add a knowledge base here. We want to source some
Yes.
information from somewhere.
Yes.
Um,
So let's do that.
okay.
Let's add a knowledge base. In the top, what is that? Could be left corner, under the where it says Explorer Library Hooks. There's that little book icon for adding a knowledge base. Yeah, you can go ahead and click on that, and that will add us a new knowledge base. Let's go ahead and, well, this is one of my favorite tricks. Is when you want to quickly create a very general knowledge or general purpose chatbot, I love to just add English Wikipedia as a source. And that way, our bot will start asking Wikipedia different questions and things like that. It's a really easy way to incorporate a ton of general knowledge about everything in the whole world into your chatbot without writing any code or anything like that, is to just point it towards Wikipedia. So let's do that. We'll go ahead and rename the whole knowledge base to be Wikipedia. So that's over in the Explorer panel. You can, nope, it's on the left side. There you go. You could right click there and rename. It's, yep, right there. And let's name this Wikipedia. And
Wikipedia
then in
rocks.
our
Seth says.
description, Wikipedia does rock, absolutely. For our description, let's come up with a short blurb about Wikipedia and the knowledge that it contains. I've found a lot of success using kind of a format of this is blank or contains blank. So we can say this is not blank, but we can say this is a good source for objective information about events from the past.
Oh, I mean, my capitalizing was. I heard your inflection there. It sounded like this has to be a capital. This is a good source
That's
for.
fair.
Did you say objective?
Objective information
All right.
about people, places, things that are not current events.
Is punctuation important here? I mean, as soon as we hit the description the description field, I feel there's a lot of questions already about
Yeah.
why is this important? Do I really need it? Does it actually influence the results somehow of the knowledge searching and knowledge answering? Can we use it? Yeah, can we use it to influence something somehow? Uh, is this important? What does the description do? I mean, starting off with the more broad, general question around the description.
Of course. Yeah. So descriptions will describe what this knowledge base is to your LLM, to, in this case, GPT. Descriptions are available for a lot of things in Botpress. They're available for knowledge bases, they're available for variables. I think they're also available for workflows, though that might be something that's coming up soon. And these descriptions are used to tell the GPT model what its available options are. When we query our chatbot here, and we have, say, 2 or 3 knowledge sources or knowledge bases enabled, it's the descriptions of those knowledge bases that GPT will use to decide in which knowledge base to look first. It will look through multiple knowledge bases if necessary, but which one first is very important, because if it gets it right on the first try, you get a much faster response. The same thing applies to your AI tasks as well, especially for output variables. If you tell the AI to look at this sentence and extract all of the movie titles and put the movie titles in this list variable here, the description for that list variable has a huge impact on what type of movie titles and what format they are put into that, because the language model is given the variable name and its description and its type, which is a kind of a code thing for what kind of data needs to go in there. And just like with us humans, language models do better when they're given detailed instructions. And the description is just another way to give more details and more information to the language model to help it out with whatever task you're asking it to do.
Okay.
Moving back to knowledge bases. Yeah.
So can we follow-up question on that? Is there a way using the description to influence the tone or the output of what will be served from the knowledge base, from what it finds in the knowledge base when we query it? Like, can it influence the response?
Yeah.
It can.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Continuing with the example we've got here with Wikipedia, let's say we also add another knowledge base and we point it at a news site like CNN or New York Times or something. For that knowledge base, we can give it a different description that says, let's do, let's see, what's a good news story? Well, we'll stick with New York Times. And say, this is a source for current events happening in the United States of America.
Is USA good?
Nope, full thing, United States of America.
Oh, okay, United States of America. I got that. Okay, you said this was a New York Times.
Yeah, New York Times.
NYT. There's dash here.
It has space. Yeah.
Don't do it.
Don't do it. Don't do it. We'll get some angry people in chat if you have a hyphen in there.
All right.
All right.
Okay, so we have a Wikipedia knowledge base and a New York Times knowledge base, but we don't have any what I like to call data sources or knowledge connectors.
You're jumping ahead of yourself, Jesse. You haven't answered your previous question yet.
Oh, yes.
Your previous question was about how the description influences which knowledge base gets chosen. And I want to highlight the differences in the descriptions between our Wikipedia knowledge base and our New York Times knowledge base. Where our Wikipedia knowledge base, there's a couple of key words I want to point out. The first being objective information, and then the last one that are not current events. there's a lot of discourse about how anti-prompts, saying not this, aren't the best thing to include for language
Right.
models. I find that when it's a short thing, that's, not this, not that, very simple anti-prompts, they do work well, especially when it's paired with a positive prompt in New York Times knowledge base, where we explicitly say that it's for current events. Can you show us the New York Times knowledge base again? Yeah, so here we say for current events. And this kind of play in the descriptions makes it very easy for the language model to determine which knowledge base would be good if we're asking about current events, and which knowledge base would be better if we're asking about not current events.
How about past
Yes.
events? That like anti-negation, would past events been
Yeah,
more
yeah, we could
would
say
preferable,
people in places of things that have happened before or
or
that have happened in the
historical
past.
events? Okay. Past events, historical events, but not current events. Here, but here the example there that you're sharing is to
Yeah.
really one's saying no and one's saying yes kind of thing here. So
Yep.
we're making it obvious between the two that GPT will have to compare with when it sources its knowledge when we hit the knowledge base. Okay.
Yes. Oh,
Okay.
Jesse, there's a question in chat for you about those little green icons, the little pencil and the green light bulb, about
Oh,
what those are all about.
yes, yes. That's my Grammarly. You see, with New York hyphen no hyphen, I was using Gordon. When I would hit the rename, see my Grammarly's not there. It's I need help with English writing terribly. So it's a tool for stress correction. Yeah, yeah. It's to help me with typing English properly, grammar. Yeah, Grammarly. Yeah,
Yeah.
should maybe disable that so it's not as confusing. Yeah, it's not Botpress. So everywhere there's an input, you'll see these little icons. That's my Grammarly. I'll disable it for the next one, not to cause any more confusion. Thank you for the question, Seth.
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
All right. So let's add some sources now.
Yes.
For our Wikipedia, there's that little button that says plus knowledge base source. Let's give that a good old click and go down to web search. All right. Now hold on. Before we even get there, at the top of that little box where it says web search, let's click on web search, and we can rename it.
Oh, that's
Titles, just
clickable.
like
Oh,
descriptions, are, yeah, and the titles, they do matter. They are important. If you have, for here we'll say Wikipedia, so we can just name this Wikipedia because GPT knows what Wikipedia is. But if we
is
were
the
to name
name?
this,
Um,
yeah, it is
Sorry,
the
Gordon.
name. It's
Is
also
the
the
name
source.
here important? Here, because we have
Hmm.
the name of the knowledge base and then we have the name of the knowledge source. Now we're using the same name. Is it meaningful to have a more broad naming for the knowledge base that contains multiple knowledge sources? Is that meaningful, or is it purely for the knowledge source itself?
It depends on how your knowledge base is constructed. In this
Okay.
case, our knowledge base just contains Wikipedia as a web search. So it doesn't really matter too much because the source and the
Okay.
knowledge base are synonymous. They're one and the same. However, if we had, say, a collection of documents, like individual Wikipedia pages, and each
Yeah.
page was its own little source, in that case, the individual sources would be better named something more descriptive than just Wikipedia page. And that would make a little more sense. Since there's no decision that the language model needs to make when it gets to this stage, like we've picked the knowledge base we want to search, then we pick the knowledge source, but there's only one source, so makes the choice easy. So in this
All
case,
right.
it doesn't matter too much. If we want to be really great, we could name this like English Encyclopedia or something, just to differentiate it. But since there's only one source in this knowledge base, it really doesn't matter too much.
Encyclopedia. Did I get that right?
Can you spell encyclopedia without your Grammarly?
No, I can't spell much without my Grammarly. It's like I can't get anywhere without a
Uh,
GPS. Like that's the bane
mhm.
of me. Like I can't read a map, but I mean, okay. So we'll go back to Wikipedia purely because I'm able to spell it, but it won't change anything for the model at this point because we don't have a collection of data sources. So it yeah. I mean, that covered it. You
All
covered
right.
it better than I could put it. All right, thank you, Gordon. All right, next step before I
Next
I
step.
go too fast.
All right. Next step is to put in the website we want to search.
Oh, here.
Well, there's this drop down: search on specific websites versus search the entire web or the entire web except certain websites.
Yeah, inclusion,
I think
exclusion,
those
or
are
just
pretty
everywhere. Yeah.
self-explanatory. Yeah, yeah. It would be helpful to talk a little bit about what's going on behind the scenes for web search knowledge bases. They are sort of what they say on the tin. Is we use a normal web search engine like Google or Yahoo or Bing or DuckDuckGo. We use one of those to search the internet and take the first few results and look through them to see if the answer to the question is there or if the answers that are presented from those search results are helpful or not. We don't go and download those websites and cache them and save them to a database. We don't crawl or scrape the websites or anything like that. We are consuming a an API that searches the web for us, and then we take those results and run with them from there. That has a couple of advantages. It means that the knowledge base is really fast to implement. Like all you do is just put in the web page and you point us in the right direction. We're not downloading or running any programs. We're just pointing in the right direction. So you can get it set up very, very quickly. Another great advantage is that there's no additional work that needs to be done on your end to create that knowledge document. If you already have the website, just point your bot at it, and it's great. So that's what's happening behind the scenes, and that's why we have those options in that dropdown of search either a list of certain websites like a past list, or everything except the websites like a banned list, or just everything on the entire website or on the entire internet. Uh, it's pretty nice.
And well, we had lots of questions so far around already.
Yeah.
I'll say around the website searching. So yeah, last week
Okay.
Sylvain mentioned we used the Bing API internally for the search. So
Okay.
if anybody's interested about that specifically, and something interesting, like today we were building. Well, Gordon was spent. I want to share that. So some of the drawbacks, like
Okay.
the cons. Yeah, I have to share that.
Yeah.
Building
All right.
a website for this specifically for the bot that we're building for the office hours. Gordon has put a lot of time in building this whole training path that we want to share with you. And we built the website. The website has been deployed. Was it yesterday morning? We went into the Bing
It was
Webmaster
yesterday morning.
Tools yesterday morning. All right, so we went
Mhm.
into the Webmaster Tools, requested the new site to be discovered by Bing, indexed, crawled, and well, they haven't done it yet. You know, it takes time. Had it been with Google, it would be the same. It would take several days. DuckDuckGo, same thing.
Yeah.
So we had to quickly pivot, and we're using Wikipedia today instead of that website. So that's one of the things. If you since we're depending on the
Yeah.
web search, your site has to already be discovered and indexed. So when we ask about like, what if my website changes in a month from now, like I make changes to my FAQs, well, it'll be dependent, the results to your bot will be dependent on the indexing and the crawling of your site. So depending on the volume on your website, the traffic that you have, which priority it has in
Mm-hmm.
the search engine, when it does crawl and reindex your site, that's when it's going to appear, right?
Yes.
But on the bot side, once you connected it, right, it's there. You don't have anything to do anymore. especially if you have a static page. So next week we'll have a new website, new web page that we'll be working on instead of Wikipedia. Okay.
Yeah.
Next question for websites. Are accompanying PDFs like docx's, CSVs, files indexed? Like I have a website and I have documents that people can download on the website. Are those documents, will the bot serve those documents too? So the answer to that is,
No.
yeah, well, does Bing go into it, crawl it, index it? On occasion, yes. On occasion, no. We don't have full control over that. And depending on the structure of your web page
Yeah.
too, like how nested it is, how much JavaScript it uses, that may create a little bit of difficulty there, getting some of that information. So anything you're able to surface with a web search from your website, you'll be able to surface in the bot using this feature here.
Yep.
I think there was another question. Can you manually add video web link URLs, not website, as knowledge base sources?
No.
No.
Knowledge bases require their data to be in text form. So if you have the video and you make a transcript out of it, you can upload that transcript. And the same thing goes for like a photo gallery, or if you have a bunch of JPEGs and then it's like a picture of text. You could put those into a PDF, and the backend process does have some character recognition, but you'd be better off just making it a PDF of text rather than an images and stuff.
Right. Yeah. And it's a similar question. Is it better to specify a specific web page or like the whole web or the whole site? So can we specify subfolders is the question. So I guess when we type Wikipedia in here, we'll answer that question.
Mm-hmm.
It depends. Okay, Patrick's been hard at work answering questions already.
Patrick has been hard at work.
Yes,
That's
thank you,
great.
Patrick.
Yeah.
Well,
But
catching
that's
up
a
on all
good
those questions.
question. I think
Go ahead.
where was that question? It was Maria.
That's
Yeah,
right.
Maria was asking, is it better to specify specific web pages or just search the entire web? And I want to drill down into that because it's a really great question about about why we're building a bot on Botpress. If we just want a bot that is loose on the internet and can say whatever and answer any question and everything at all, no matter what you ask it, and it'll answer it however it feels like, Botpress is not really the tool for that. There's a bunch of other options. There's a lot of open source stuff. You can get tons of models off of Hugging Face and use other Python packages to hook it up to Google API and then just go. And your bot will answer everything that it can do on the internet. But we build with Botpress because we have a specific use case. We've got a website or a business or an interest, and we want to build a chat interface for that thing. And because of that, already our interest in building the bot is scoped. And so it makes sense that we build using a tool that can also be scoped. And so if we're building this bot and we want it to be a general knowledge type bot, we want to make sure that it's giving good knowledge. And one way we can make sure that it's giving good knowledge is to scope where it gets its knowledge from to good sources like Wikipedia or the Smithsonian Museum websites or National Geographic or certain scientific papers. We want to control its knowledge and control what the bot knows to make sure that it can better serve our interests and not just be some general purpose kind of thing. So in that regard, it's most of the time it would be better to limit the scope of your knowledge base to a certain collection of websites so that your bot can do a better job serving its purpose. So,
Internal. Okay. Yeah.
Jesse,
Excuse
your
me.
face
I'm
is
reading. I'm reading here. There's so
confused.
many questions. Okay. Off the topic of
Okay.
KBs, internal documents secure. Okay. These are internal. We'll talk about. Okay. This is a good question for documents when we get to documents.
Okay.
Since we're still covering the website,
hmm
like are the internal documents secure from external disclosure if the bot's not published to the outside world? A quick answer: we take security very seriously, and the documents are stored securely. But then, if your bot's exposed somehow to the external web through a web chat on a public site, that the public may start asking questions to it, and it's not gated with some kind of authentication, for sure there's a risk there. So there are some mechanisms to put in place. That may be a source of a longer discussion there. Document security for outside sources. I'll just track that question there. When using the integrated validation in the capture card, okay, capture card. Okay, let's keep going with the the Wikipedia search here. Let's get some bot answering
Yes.
somewhere.
Let's get some bot action going. So in that
Bot
box of
action.
websites to search on, I want you to
Yes.
enter in en.wikipedia.org.
Okay.
And already we're doing a bunch of stuff in scoping. We're limiting it to an English language source, which means we're only going to get English language answers. If we pointed it at German Wikipedia, we might get German answers, which is really cool. And then wikipedia.org is there. Notice we're not doing any /wiki/whatever thing. We're doing the entire domain of Wikipedia because you do need a full domain to work with as a knowledge source. So that does mean that if you have a website that's really big that has a bunch of different sections and it's my website /section A, my website /section B, you can only use my website as a knowledge source, and we'll search section A and B and C and so on. That's just how the crawling and the web search works. However, if you do have a subdomain, if you have sectiona.mywebsite.com, that can be a limited scope to search. So that's an important thing to know.
Cool. So the fact that Wikipedia created a subdomain for each language allows us to query the language source that we want. Had Wikipedia structured their website like this,
Yeah, you see that little warning?
it's right there.
It's in
Boom.
red.
It
You
would
can't do
not
that.
have worked. Okay. So is this like a current limitation of the Bing API? Is this a current limitation of Botpress? Are we going to add ability to do this kind of filtering? Gordon, do you know?
It's a limitation on the Bing API.
Okay.
Yeah, there might be. This is going into Jesse's really high voice in the future. Ways to do that thing.
Perfect.
Where you can do your own knowledge. You can use your own search engine of your choice that may be able to do, subpages instead of subdomains. That would have to come in the future, and we'll have to see about that.
Okay. All right. So in English, and I mean, we're talking about language here. We can also getting ahead of myself again. Like translate whatever we get from the English search back into output a different language using personality rewrite that we'll see another time. Like the language is the language in this scenario specifically important that we're querying English in particular? Is it that we want to scope down the results, or we could really go on full Wikipedia and search all languages?
See, now I'm really curious. You want to do some quick science, Jesse?
Sure, let's absolutely.
All right. So we're gonna go fast here. Rename this source to English Wikipedia. Then let's add a new knowledge base source, also a web search. This one we're going to call Wikipedia en français.
Let me change my keyboard. Does Wikipedia in French have that accent there? Wikipedia en français. There we go.
And our website
My
will be
French isn't better.
fr.wikipedia.
Just reference for everyone, not specific websites. Wikipedia.org.
.org. All right.
Okay. Yeah.
And now, without doing anything, we'll stick in English, and we'll ask. We could just ask, what is the capital of Quebec in English?
Without saying in English, I assume.
Correct. Just that. Don't even need a question mark. And we should get an answer. Quebec City.
In English.
Okay.
Responded in English.
Now I'm curious what happens if we ask that same question en français.
Ouf. Une capitale, quelle quelle? Oh my God. La capitale.
Sorry, we need an adult in here.
La capitale du Québec. Oh boy. Okay, cute. Okay, here we go. Please cross my fingers. The capital of Quebec is it say okay, I'll bring in some Quebecer in here. C'est quoi la capitale du Québec?
Ooh, it's thinking.
I think I broke it.
It's thinking hard. See, it understands proper French. You broke it.
It should be proper. Okay. Well, with no response coming in, that's I don't know if it's just taking time or if something didn't go through.
It's just taking time. Oh, it timed out. Or our knowledge query didn't come up with anything.
No valid answer found. It was a little long. Okay, there we go. Oh!
Huh.
Okay. It Frenched back. From Wikipedia French
back.
versus
Okay.
All right.
That
may not have worked
had we
a really
good question. Yeah. Seth from chat asked a good question of, does Botpress translate? And the answer to that question is no. For our knowledge base, we are querying GPT directly. We're including a bunch of sources. Our original prompt is English. However, what I think, or what I hope has happened in this case, was our French question matched better with French Wikipedia, whereas our English question matched better with English Wikipedia. And because the question and the sources were all in French, it influenced GPT to answer in French. We can check that, actually. Jesse, if you go into the JSON, the raw JSON in that little bottom panel, there's event debugger logs JSON. And we're going to put on our glasses because it's teeny tiny. There's a field called suggestions. It's close to the bottom. And then, oh, there you go. So we're going to look at suggestions. All right, now it's at the top.
I'm gonna slap everything away. There we go. Okay, suggestions.
Right, suggestions. Then nope. Open it. Then open the thing below it. Then payloads. Then 0. Then text. Okay.
Source details.
Okay. Yeah, source details. There we go. Friendly name, page title, Quebec City, Wikipedia. Ooh, what's that? It is. Oh no, it starts with E. And Wikipedia. Oh, interesting. So it took the source from English Wikipedia, despite our question being in French. And then it just answered in French because.
Oh, we can actually, we can, without going in the JSON logs in the event debugger, we have the knowledge query card here that shows all the steps.
True.
We actually have this.
Old habits die hard.
The engineer at heart just got to go into the JSON. There's more detail, right? We won't skip anything.
Straight to the logs.
La capitale du Québec est Quebec City. From English.
One is English. from English Wikipedia. Interesting.
Interesting.
Hmm.
But then it translated, it replied. So something I've seen with GPT is that when you do, like, let's say you use the GPT Playground or Chat GPT and you ask it a question in French, it replies in French. If you ask it if you prompt it in English, it replies in English. So I believe this is what happened here, right? Since we didn't specify any language in the conversation, but we did specify English in the beginning. But I don't think that necessarily forces it. So there was no rewrite. So I think GPT just replied back in the same language that it received the question in this case.
Yeah.
So knowledge base is the knowledge base, at least with the web knowledge base, it auto-translated. That's interesting.
Yeah, that is interesting. All right.
Will require
saw
some
another
more
thing
fiddling
in
and playing
chat.
around. Yep, go ahead.
It does. It does. Someone from chat, who was it, wanted to see what our flow looks like, which is a lot of fun. I love this question. Trying to find out what their name is. Could you show what our flow looks like right now, Jesse?
In the main flow, this empty canvas.
What flow? There ain't no flow.
Yeah.
There's no flow at all.
Well, yeah, okay. 3 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, on the 4th of May, when we created an empty bot, there was actually a card there by default, a node there by default. Let me add a standard node, and it was called check knowledge, I believe. And this may be somewhat of a source of confusion a little bit to the KB to flow process. That node was never required. So I mean, it's just not there anymore. Gordon, can you explain this to us? We don't have a flow, but yet we're getting answers from the
Yeah. Absolutely. So this is the fun chatbot building concept about linear versus non-linear conversations. Wait, no, that's a different one. Open domain versus closed domain conversations. That's the one. Flows are closed domain. Everything else is open domain when you're outside of a flow. Let me drill into that a little bit. When you first start a conversation with a bot, you're not in a flow. You are in the vast floating conversational ether of open domain conversations. You haven't asked anything to the bot, so the bot doesn't know how to respond, unless your bot is proactive and acts first, in which case you're shuttled forcibly into the start of a flow. But because that hasn't happened, we are just floating around in this conversational ether where we're not in a flow, we're not doing anything in particular, we're just existing with our chatbot. And then as soon as we ask a question, that's when the system snaps into action. The first thing that Botpress will do is it will check its knowledge, its information, to see if it can answer the question. Then it will check its intents, and then it will do whatever is in, it'll do the knowledge, and then it will do what's in the main flow. Usually that's where I put the intents checker, and then after that comes whatever fallback you have programmed. This is a really important way to design chatbots because it allows us to give the end user the fastest access to the bot's knowledge possible. You just ask your question at the start of the conversation, and if the bot can answer, it will give you the answer. I mean, imagine how frustrating it would be if every time you open the chatbot, you have to say, "Hello, I have a question. I want to ask a general question." And then bot says, "Okay, what is your general question?" And then bot goes to its knowledge base. That's extra steps. That's unintuitive, and it's unnecessary. For Botpress bots, we start you off with the ability to jump into any knowledge base, into any information that the bot has right off the bat, unless your bot is acting first, in which case that's a different scenario. For this bot, we haven't defined any flows, so even if there was a flow to go into, we're not going into one. So we just have the knowledge. There's nothing else in this bot but the knowledge. So when we start a chat, we immediately go into the knowledge. And so that's how this chat is possible, even though we haven't built any flows.
And I find that any explanation of that still is confusing until we see it in action.
So let's add a little bit of
can
a
we
flow.
just a little more science? Yeah, if we build the flow and see. I think I'll just like reset this conversation and.
Sure.
So you were saying we have the open
let's add
domain.
A very
so
basic flow here. Yeah.
To summarize in my own words, what I understood. So we have the open domain, which is the knowledge base. We ask a question, we start the conversation. We get an answer to that question, and that will happen before we go into the closed domain, which is the flows. So we can, so as soon as we get a knowledge base, we get an answer from the knowledge base, we then move into the flow. We won't go into the flow before we've answered the knowledge base. And then when we're in a flow, there's other things that we can do to control whether we want open domain to happen within the closed flow. So what does that mean specifically is that, okay, so for an example, yeah, I'll say, we'll ask the same question we asked here. What's the capital of Quebec? What's happening? We're hitting the knowledge base. We get a response, and we're actually triggering we're actually starting this flow right after this response from the knowledge base, but nothing's happening because we don't have anything here. So what we're going to do is add something here so we can see that in action. And okay, so to follow up on what you said, just we'll add a standard node here.
And let's add a very basic, something that I see a lot, and that's a CSAT question, or customer satisfaction. So we'll put a capture card into that standard node. Third one, that's the ear. Yep, click and drag. There you go. And this is just a capture card. This is how the bot asks user questions or solicits user input. For our type of value, and then that little choose an extraction, we want a confirmation. Oh, it was the third one down. There you go. Yes. For this question, to ask the user, erase do you confirm, and we'll just say, was this helpful? Or was this answer helpful? Let's do that.
Okay.
And then we want to drop down to advanced configuration and go to choices. There you go. And choice. And instead of accept or decline, we'll say yes and no. And one more advanced configuration that I want to add is I think it's an advanced. It's a double advanced configuration. Aha, transition to handle failure. That's the one. Then in this case, we also want to look at retries. So we'll talk through this in a bit. So once more, we'll go to retries. And yep, let's make sure retries is set to 0. Great. All right. So now we've got 3 little transitions after our capture card info. We've got accept, decline, and on failure, which is pretty cool. Just to make sure
accept,
we
decline.
can
This
do
was
this
yes and no, right? Yes and no.
It should be yes and no. Yeah. I guess the transitions didn't get renamed, but our choices will be renamed.
Okay. Yeah.
Let's make 3 new nodes for each of those, and our bot will say a different thing after each of those.
I have to say, I don't know if anyone's noticed, but we now have the snap to grid feature.
Snap to grid.
This I don't know who else has wasted or spent so much time trying to align your nodes to make this look great for your OCD. This has saved a lot of headache and time for me. Now I know that it's like perfectly aligned. I had to go pixel by pixel before like zoom in and try and figure out like if I was getting it at the right place. But I digress. Okay, we have 3 cards, one for failure, one for okay, and one for a yes, and one for no.
All right, let's put some nice basic messages into each of those. So send a message. And this is the failure case, so our bot can say, I don't know how to respond to that. Okay. For the next one, standard 3, we'll add a message that says, great, I'm glad I could help. And for the last one, this is our failure, or our no, this wasn't helpful, and we'll say something like, oh, I'll do better next time.
Do we need an API key of some
right.
sort to do the Wikipedia search, Gordon?
No, you do not. You do not need an API key for Wikipedia.
We supply that
Okay.
searching
So we've got
out of the box.
nice little flow.
Okay.
Jesse, do you want to take a moment here to go through the capture info card, or shall we leave that a mystery for next time?
Well, let's leave that a mystery for next time. Let's continue to focus on knowledge base and the interactions there with it. Yeah.
Okay. All right. We'll keep our magic here. So we've got our basic flow here. For those last 3 nodes, even though they don't explicitly transition to the end node, because they don't have any transitions, that transition is implied. It will happen automatically. So we could do what Jesse's doing and add these transitions, but since they don't appear, it's done automatically on the back end. It's a pretty cool time saver.
So these 3 nodes right now, the way they're set up, will behave exactly the same way.
Yep. Okay. Exactly. They will send the message and then end the flow.
All right.
Okay.
So let's try this.
Ask our question again. About.
Don't need to start a new conversation here. We'll just send it in.
Nope.
What is the capital of Quebec?
All right.
Yeah.
And just like that, so we see the results show that transition from open domain into our closed domain. We started off outside of the flow, and outside of the flow we can ask anything and go straight into the knowledge base. But then after the bot gives us the knowledge, we go into the main flow, and we're now inside of the flow. And we're inside that first node, standard 1, inside of that capture card. So unlike before, if we ask another question that can be answered on Wikipedia, like what's the capital of Ontario?
Instead of selecting one of the buttons here.
Yeah, instead of selecting one of the buttons here, we want to ask Ontario, not Ontario.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Is that how you say it in French?
Oh no, Ontario. It's also an O. It's not an A. That was Quebec French.
Ontario.
Ontario. Capture variable failed. I don't know how to respond to that.
I don't know how to respond to that. Yes. So because we were inside of a flow, we're now in a closed domain. We're not in the wild open domain where we can access Wikipedia and do anything. We're in a flow, we're in a closed domain. So even though the knowledge base knows, Wikipedia knows what the capital of Ontario is, in fact, Jesse, if we repeat that same question, we should get an answer.
Because we've ended the flow and we're kind of back at the beginning in the open domain.
Yep. Capital of Ontario is Ottawa. Just like that.
Then we're back in the flow.
So this, this is a great demonstration of that open domain, closed domain way that Botpress conversations start. And it's really useful, especially for bots that have a combination of information and automation features. You can ask say a retail bot about the store policy for shipping, and then you can go into a flow where you get a customized shoe recommendation. And then once you're done getting that shoe recommendation, you can then ask another question about returns and policies. And just that way of you complete the flow and then you're back in the open domain. You can ask anything and then go into a flow, complete the flow, then come back into the open domain. It's a really natural way to do a conversation. It kind of mimics how we humans talk as well. So yeah, that's how Botpress handles those two paradigms of getting information.
And with the way humans converse, we tend to digress like that. Is there a way to allow this kind of digression, like not answering the question here and asking the question and still getting the response back from the knowledge base rather than I don't know? Because actually no.
Yeah, we do. So to do that, we would click on, looks like it's standard 2 is the top node. That's where our failure condition is. And if you click on the panel in the upper right-hand corner, where it says standard 2, add instructions, send content, whatever, there's a checkbox to enable knowledge answering. And we'll just click on that. And wait, no, it's the node where you give the input. So it wouldn't be standard 2, it would be standard 1 that needs to enable knowledge answering. That's my bad. So this guy, enable, and on standard 2, disable. There you go. So yes, you're right, Jesse. We can enable knowledge on the node of user input, and that will do the same thing. We'll ask the open domain first, and then come back into the closed domain. So in this case, you'll need to restart the conversation because we made a change, but our chat is still using the cached, the older version. So here we can ask about Ontario. We'll get one, and then say we'll ask about Quebec. It should give us the answer, and then go into the failure case for that card.
Okay, and then this is now the topic about the card retries to ask the question back to the user, and that'll be for another.
We'll do retries and things from here. Yeah.
All right.
No, we're gonna keep the card a secret for now. That'll be next live stream.
Yeah.
2 hours of just me talking about the capture card.
Okay, just catching up on some questions here. Patrick's still doing great work. Thank you, Patrick.
All right. Let's see what some of the good questions are. Kai Duncan says that was an awesome explanation. I'm not sure which explanation they're referring to, but thank you.
The open domain versus closed domain there, just before we went into explaining, seeing visually how that works. Yes, one of the best explanations I've heard so far, Gordon. Okay, all right. So we'll keep moving. What else do we have here? There's so much more to talk about.
All right, so let's talk about some different types of knowledge bases, and we can also go into scoped knowledge bases too, which that's a lot of fun. Let's add a new knowledge base about pandas. So we can add a new one. Yep, we'll call it Pandas.
We're talking about those cute little fuzzy, cuddly white and black bears there?
No, the Python package for data analysis.
No. Okay, you lost me.
No, I'm just kidding. We're doing the fun pandas, the bears, the ones that eat bamboo.
All right. Yes. Okay. Great. I'm good with those.
All right. So in that description, let's make sure that's codified right there in the description. This contains information about the animal pandas.
Pandas, not the
Pandas.
Python.
Well, again, we don't want to do an anti-prompt without a counter and a different knowledge.
Right. Okay. Yes, that's right.
Yeah. Now, Jesse, earlier I sent you a PDF of Panda Facts. Do you have that?
I have that on hand. Yes, it's in my downloads folder.
Okay. All right. So we can upload documents. For this, we'll call it Panda Facts.
Okay.
And we'll drag and drop that PDF I shared with you earlier.
Oh, we can drag and drop. All right, I clicked on the button. Now I'm filtering through my downloads. PandaFacts PDF upload. There we go.
Okay.
Okay. All right, so PDF. We support
PandaFacts,
PDFs,
PDF.
HTML, text, docx. Do we support images in there? How are we with structured data? Can we upload videos? Can we upload pictures?
Great question. Jesse, are you able to open pandafax.pdf in your browser so we can show the audience what pandafax.pdf looks like?
All right,
Because
absolutely.
that's going to help answer a lot of questions about what makes the best format for your PDF documents. While
There we
you do that,
go.
hey, there we go. Cool. So these are just some panda facts that I copied off of, I think it was the Smithsonian Zoo website about the panda Meixiang and Tiantian. All right, and this exhibits what I have found to be the best practices for PDF knowledge base sources. Showing you a few things. First off, it is a text-based PDF. There's no images, there's no fancy formatting. We do have some processing that happens in the background to recognize characters and extract text. If you want the best results, don't leave anything to chance and just have a text PDF. That way, make sure that we get the best text out of this. The second is that they are all very kind of dry facts. In fact, these facts could be even drier. I like to pretend that I am a detective or a police officer just making a very dry report off of whatever I'm doing. So, like looking at that fourth fact, pandas are no longer an endangered species thanks in part to Smithsonian research. That's a bit too much, honestly. Like, unless I was doing a bot that specifically wanted to promote Smithsonian, I would just say pandas are no longer an endangered species. End. Other fact, pandas are solitary animals, but will vocalize during social interactions. End. Sounds pandas make include chirp, honk, bleat, chomp, bark. End. So very dry facts help. You can number your facts. Like you could have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It doesn't add or make that much of a difference in terms of giving the right answer or not. It does influence a little bit how long the answers are. When you have numbered facts, the answers tend to be a little bit longer than when you just have an unordered list of facts. But it doesn't really impact if you get the right information or not, just how much information is typically given. And then, yeah, also it's just a list of facts. It's not an essay, it's not a paper or anything like that. When you have just dry facts like this, you give GPT a lot of great base material to work with, to pull and make custom answers based off of other parts like facts, like building up a Lego kit from the different facts. And then that can get sent to your bot personality, which can dress it up and put makeup on and send it to your user finally. When you have a knowledge source that's like an essay or a story or something that was written by a human to be read by humans and has a lot of nice descriptive language or very heavy scientific jargon, it's already influenced in that tone, and that will influence how well GPT can pick out isolated facts and build them together. And then it will also influence how the bot personality goes because it's starting material. A good example might be, does it talk about the panda's diet? Like if they said pandas are herbivorous, they only eat plants. Or not even that. You could say a big scientific word like pandas have an herbivorous diet. GPT tends to keep those big fancy scientific words. And it's very likely if you made a chatbot that was like, you are a presenter on a children's television show doing a special about pandas. And then you ask your chatbot, hey, what do pandas eat? And your knowledge base source is the scientific paper about pandas and their diet. GPT is likely to preserve that word herbivorous in that it has a lot of meaning, because it does. And that would go through your chatbot personality filter, and your chatbot would say, hey kids, pandas are herbivorous. That means they like to eat a lot of plants. Yeah, my phone says it's time to go to sleep. Yes, so the form of the tone of your knowledge base source, it can have an impact on the end result of your chatbot. So my best practice is to have your knowledge base source be an unordered list of dry facts. Short, sweet, and to the point.
Dry facts, no tables, no images.
Yeah, no tables, no images.
No videos. Okay.
Numbering doesn't matter. Headings don't matter. Organization doesn't really matter. Yeah.
Okay. And careful with PDFs, because they tend to be, if it's an image PDF, we do have OCR.
Yeah.
But if it's text-based
PDF,
you'll have the guarantee, at least there to have that. Okay. All right.
Yep.
So far, so good.
So those
no
are
additional
our Panda
questions. All right. Well, let's switch back to Botpress, and we'll be able to ask some questions about that. Share this tab instead. There we go. Okay. So what do pandas eat? Like, or is that too basic?
Let's see. Let's ask about what do pandas eat, and we can see in the nice, easily readable event debugger which source it pulls from.
Oh, yes. A common question we get is there a limit to the size of the documents that we can upload? At the moment, I believe the limit's 50 megabytes. So you got lots of space
it's pretty
there.
generous. Yeah.
And we were talking about this the other day, Gordon. Like, what would be best, like, to take this massive document that has a lot of maybe topics or categories in it and upload that one document? Or is it better, or would it be better to separate it into smaller documents that are, you know, maybe category specific, and then upload these multiple small, more specific documents?
Yeah. This is the conflict between the engineering professional in me and the person who has actually built a lot of chatbots before. The person who's built a lot of chatbots before says, don't spend any time splitting up that PDF document into chunks. You're going to waste a lot of time, and it's not going to give you that much of an extra benefit, because that's kind of true. On the back end, we have a back end process that will chunk everything. It'll act like a paper shredder and just shred it up into tiny little chunks, and then store those chunks and just do the search based on the chunks alone. Now, there is that metadata. We started off the stream talking about the importance of titles and descriptions, and those do matter. Those do get saved in those little chunks into the backend database, but they don't matter as much as the actual content of the chunk. So if it's a really important mission critical aspect of the bot that it needs to give very precise answers very quickly, having multiple PDFs of that will be helpful. It will improve the bot. It will also improve how easy it is to update and change and make small changes and iterations on the bot. Because if you have one giant PDF that you keep uploading every time, that's going to make your workflow longer. It'll help you prototype quickly, but then when you want to start changing things and adding this here, adding that there, having to re-export that big giant PDF and then upload it again and all that will extend your workflow. But if your PDF is a finished product and you're taking a finished product and dividing it into little categories, I don't necessarily think that's worth it. But if you want to do a very iterative build process, it would definitely help to have smaller chunks of PDFs that you can tweak them individually.
Okay. So in short, like, it should work well just uploading the PDF. If it's about changing your workflow, like you have to have a really specific
Yeah.
use case. It's like a tool that's at your disposal. You can help the engine by doing that separation, but you need to have a very specific use case at that point there to go start doing that split of your PDF and your
Yeah.
document. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
For
Yeah.
the Peanut,
And I think
50
this might
megabytes
also
in
be a
total
good
per
time.
file. Excuse me.
What?
I just wanted
Oh,
to answer your question. Was it 50 megabytes in total per
okay.
file, or was it for the for the whole knowledge base? I do believe it is per file. Gordon, you were
Yeah.
going to say.
Yes, I was going to say this might be a good time to have a brief tangent about which medium of knowledge base source is best for different material. Because there's three different knowledge base sources. There's website search, there's a PDF document, and then there's raw text. And the back end, they function very similarly, but they they are best for different types of information. And that's purely based on just bot building workflow. Websites are most of the time, if you're in a small business or in a company, the bot building team and the website team are two very different teams. And you, the bot builder, don't have control over what appears on the website and when. And so web search and then the content in your web search, it best serves content that's very static, that doesn't change very often. Uh, Coming back to the retail store, something that doesn't change very often is like what credit cards your store takes, your store's address, your policy on returns, what kind of shipping service you use. These things, they don't really change very often. So that's really great for the website because you can just point at website, bam, it's good, it's done. And then your documents are stuff that's it's good for more dynamic, but it's kind of a middle ground between changes frequently and doesn't change very often at all. For sticking with retail, it might be something like this month's inventory, like what stock you have that's coming in, not necessarily the numbers of availability, but just what stock is ordered for the month. That's something that you can upload a document maybe once a month, make sure that it keeps fresh. It can be a very large document that has lots of unstructured facts, but it is something that doesn't necessarily change that often, but it can change a little bit. And then you've got your raw text, which is something that you specifically, the bot builder, and only you, the bot builder, control. And this is best for kind of bot specific information, things like the bot's personality, greetings, jokes, Easter eggs, and maybe a few things about your store or about the use case. But sometimes, especially if you're in a company, the people doing the content are also in a kind of a different team, and that might be best served with documents. Like you've got the content team that produces a document of the bot's content that you take as the bot building team. And so these three different sources, they kind of invite themselves to three different types of information depending on how frequently it changes, with your websites being the most static, documents being in the middle, and raw text being the most dynamic and easily changeable. In the case of our Panda facts, like Wikipedia is great for your baseline information about pandas, stuff that's not going to change, their scientific name, their older habitats, the history of Carl Linnaeus's first time when he saw a panda in 1758 or whatever. That stuff's not going to change. It's very static, and Wikipedia is a great place to put it. A document like Panda Facts is great if like we're working at a zoo and the PR department put out a press release about Panda Facts for World Panda Day back in October of 2022. If those Panda Facts are still relevant, it's great. Take them, put them in there. How we got Panda Facts. And then we can add a raw text of like certain panda jokes. Like we want to make a joke about a panda running for US president in 2024. It's kind of a timely thing, something we want to change as current events go. So a raw text, it makes a lot of sense for that kind of information because it's something we want to change. It's relevant to the bot's personality. So a raw text knowledge base would be really good for that.
Okay. So
Jesse's thinking hard.
whew, there was a lot of information there. Um, okay, so that's we're talking about workflow, which type
Hmm.
of knowledge base you'd like, no, actually knowledge source to use under which
Knowledge source,
condition.
yeah.
Right? Okay. Now, then so this brings up the question for me. Now that we have our static website, we have our document that changes a bit, and
Hmm.
we can change very rapidly our static text. And we've also talked about different teams that may be updating the data, this information
Yeah.
at different rates. Sometimes maybe there's a breakdown of communication. Somebody releases something on the website, we're not aware of it, and we can end up with some maybe similar facts that are saying something differently.
Hmm.
Maybe we have contradicting facts now. Maybe our PDF is outdated and the facts changed on the website, or maybe our
Hmm.
PDF changed, but there's still something on the website historical that's contradicting with this new finding. Um, how how do we handle this here? How is it handled by the knowledge base in Botpress? Um, is there a priority on the facts? Can I on the facts? Excuse me. Is there a priority on the knowledge bases or on the knowledge sources? Um, is there a way to force that priority? Um,
Hmm.
is there a way to scope as well? If scoping is necessary, like I just want results, and at this point in the conversation, given the context, get responses just from the PDF and not from the website.
Yes. Those are all very good questions. There is a way to scope a specific knowledge base to kind of lock the user into only getting information from a specific knowledge base. Let's do that. Let me show you guys. Let's show the world how it's done. The short overview is that if your knowledge base is in the same folder as a workflow, then your user is limited to just that knowledge base. So we'll need to create a brand new workflow um, and a brand new folder and put that workflow and our pandas knowledge base into that folder. Are you ready, Jesse?
Okay, sounds a little daunting.
Okay,
Okay,
it's all right.
new
It's all right.
concepts,
We'll take it
subflow and
step by step.
folders. Yes.
Yes,
Okay,
folders. All right.
folders.
So one to the right, folder. You want to add a folder. Yeah, add this folder, and this we'll call this folder. Um, we'll call it our panda folder. Let's literally call it panda folder. Okay, and then we can click and drag our pandas knowledge base into our panda folder. Yeah, just click and drag.
Oh, disappeared. What's under? There we go. Okay.
There it is. All right. Now we want to click that button to make a new workflow
Oh,
as well. It's
oh,
like the
can I
two
can
dots
I
and
try
stuff.
something?
Of
Now that we
course.
moved it away, in theory, if I ask my question about what the pandas eat, it shouldn't work anymore.
No, it'll take it from Wikipedia. But it'll be a
Ah,
different answer. No,
okay.
try it, try it. We'll see what happens. And we can see in the event debugger that it will take from Wikipedia instead of pandas eat bamboo. Very boring. Giant panda
Okay,
Wikipedia.
right there. We
There you go.
just scoped it out. Boom.
Yep,
Great. So
just like that.
earlier we got our answer from.
Yeah,
Oh, I got to
and you
bring
can
this
click
back
and
here.
drag that knowledge
Wow.
base outside of the flow. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's think the same as me.
Oh, I'm in the flow here. Oh, but I do have the knowledge answering, so it
It's
should get
okay. We'll
something.
still get the answer. There you go. And that came from searched in Pandas Wikipedia.
Panda
There you go,
facts
Pandas Facts,
citation. Look
page
at
5 out of
that.
5.
Oh, nice.
All right.
Okay. Okay. So I'll
Yes.
just drag that one back in there. Now we have to get in that
Mhm.
folder somehow
We
in the
do. We
conversation.
have to get into a workflow that's also in that same folder. So let's create a brand new workflow.
This one
Yeah,
here.
with that button right there. We'll call this
then-
Panda workflow. Yeah, you'll have to click and drag it in there.
Okay. All right.
All right. And for this workflow, in standard, that little node, let's have a capture card that asks, what is your question about pandas? Pandas. For the type of extraction, we'll just do raw text. It's like raw input. Yeah, right there. And then for the node standard, we don't need to do any of that. Yeah, we don't need to do any of that.
Okay.
Nope, no fancy stuff. We do need to go into the node for standard and hit that enable knowledge answering button. Just there on the right hand side. There you go. Yeah, and then a transition that goes to exit. All right. Now let's put their Panda workflow in our Panda folder.
I thought I'd done that earlier.
Okay. Yeah, it's all right. And let's talk about this workflow just for a hot minute. For this workflow, we have one node that asks the user a question, and then we'll use knowledge to answer the question. Fairly sure that we'll get the answer because we've got the knowledge base in there. But we have to ask the user for their question because our flow is, this Pandas workflow is a different workflow from the main workflow. So the user's first question that they ask, it's going to be answered in the main workflow, which is not linked to the Pandas base. Then we have to go from main into our Panda workflow, ask the user for their question, and then that question will be answered with our Pandas database. It's kind of a step. Like first we have to get the user, do you want to know about pandas? Yes. What's your question about pandas? Here's your answer about pandas.
Yes, that's okay. That's what we want to do. So we have to get.
That's what we want to do.
Okay.
Exactly. So back in our main workflow, we're going to change the question that we ask. In standard info, we're going to change the question to be, do you want to know about pandas?
Like capitalizing pandas.
Yes. And this
okay.
time, it's time for standard 3, that node, which is our yes condition, let's replace that message with workflow. So we can just delete that whole capture card. Or not capture card, that whole message card, the green boy. Yeah, delete him. And we can add a card, execute workflow, Panda workflow. There it is. We want to make sure the transition is after that. All right, there you go. That's it. So we will ask the user for, if they want to know more about pandas. If they do, we'll go into that workflow of Pandas workflow. We'll ask them for their panda question and then answer their panda question. Give them the panda answer. I'm saying panda a lot. Let's give it a panda try, Panda Jesse.
All right. Let's. Okay, I'm not good at this. Panda, send a message. Okay. So they just ask my panda question, like, what do pandas eat?
It's
right off
pandemonium.
Pandemonium.
Yeah.
Yes. Pandemonium. It's playing Heroes of the Storm, my Blizzard. They have this brewmaster as a panda. So he's a drunken brawler, and he just shouts out pandemonium all the time. It made me think of that. Okay. What the pandas eat?
Let's ask a different. Okay. Yeah. What do pandas eat? That'll be fun. Oh, because we're still querying Wikipedia.
Right.
Let's delete that Wikipedia and we'll stick with New York Times. We'll make the knowledge base for New York Times active. So actually not delete, we can just disable it. Over in the box where it says English Wikipedia, oh no, hang on. There's a little 3 dots on the right hand side. We can disable the knowledge base. Same for
And we had the
Wikipedia en français.
français. Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So there's a way to disable
And
the
then
knowledge
for
sources, not
yeah,
the knowledge base itself.
correct.
But,
Correct.
okay.
Yeah. Then for New York Times, let's actually add a source there, so we have some contrast here. We'll add a knowledge-based source for a website or a web search, and this will be, I think it's nytimes.com. Times with an S.
Oh, there we go.
I think NY Time just gives you the current
business.
time in New York City.
Okay. All right. Cool. All right.
Yeah,
So we'll
it's
refresh
always
this.
time to wake up because it's the city that never sleeps.
We have another panda question.
Anyways, we can ask like how much do pandas weigh? That I don't think New York Times has run a story about panda weight. How? What? That was fast. Huh.
For shielding endangered neighbors, pandas. Look at that. Okay. So
Well,
we
it's
do
not
have
asking our
panda.
PDF, and that's the important part.
Yeah. Okay. Well, do you want to know about pandas? So this is a
Yes, we
workflow
do want to know.
kind of thing that we can work
It,
through.
yeah.
I'll say yes. I want to know about pandas. What's your question about pandas? Okay, it didn't take my question about pandas, but we can like fine tune this through conversation design in the future.
Mhm.
Let's.
Yeah, there's
What's
ways
your
around
question
that to
about?
make it a little more optimal. All right. Hey, this time we're taking it from Panda Facts.
Okay, so we said how much pandas weigh. Okay, we got a response from the knowledge base, the open domain, New York Times. We got the answer. It triggered the
Mm-hmm.
main flow. It went, well, just automatically went into the main flow, came over to the
Yep.
capture information where we asked, do you want to know about pandas? We accepted, which accept brings us to the standard node 3 here that has us execute a like a subflow, like a workflow that we created here that's hidden in this
Yep.
folder over there. And at which point, what's your question about pandas? We ask our question, and this card also has the knowledge. If I click here, answering enabled, that's why it looked at
Mm-hmm.
the knowledge base that was next to it in the folder. So we effectively
Exactly.
scoped the search to the knowledge base in the folder. So we can have, imagine multiple knowledge bases in the same folder, and it'll prioritize the folder. I wonder, do you know, does it also say it doesn't find the panda facts in that folder? Does it like do a hierarchy and go up the chain into, say, what's up here as like global?
Let's find out.
Okay.
So we'll get a brand new conversation, and we can ask a question about the New York Times, like, shoot, what's a good safe for work headline we can ask about?
What's the time in New York?
we we can ask what's on Broadway. Is that safe? What's new in Baltimore?
How
Gonna
do you
have to help
spell
me out here.
Baltimore? Baltimore.
Baltimore. Yeah, that's about right.
Yeah, okay.
Hey, what's new in Baltimore? All right,
Started publishing in
good
recent
enough.
weeks. Okay.
Now let's
Do you want to
learn
know
more
about
about
pandas?
pandas, but in our
Yes.
panda workflow, we'll ask about Baltimore again.
What's new about Baltimore? So we know there for a fact that there's nothing in our Panda Facts PDF about Baltimore.
Pretty sure, yeah. 99% sure our pandas are not in Baltimore. All right, look at that. So we do not go out of the folder and search the general more global knowledge bases. We stay within the folder, and if it's not in that knowledge base, then we just say no. Or the bot says, I don't know.
Okay, that's interesting. So we really get a very good there, hard scoping in that case, so we won't spill out. Oh,
By
that's
default
interesting. No,
behavior, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, and of course there's ways if you really want to have that behavior where if there's no answer in the scoped knowledge base, we automatically ask again with the broader scope and the global knowledge base. That is possible. That involves a lot more logic, a couple more nodes, a few transitions. It is possible. It's just not the default behavior. The default behavior will be to stay inside of that folder, limit yourself to only those knowledge bases, and if there's nothing there to say, I don't know.
And Gordon, what is this? Where did this come from?
That came from GPT.
That came from GPT.
Yeah.
Okay. So this
Mhm.
this maybe I don't want this in my bot. Is there a way we can try and get that out? Maybe I want to control the response here that we don't know about the facts. Captured variable. It's not from the capture? Is that from the capture card? Or is that
It's
from
not
the
from the
knowledge
capture card.
base?
It's from the knowledge base. Yes. Um, yeah. So when we are asking from the knowledge base, we take the relevant chunks of info from the knowledge base and send them to GPT. And part of the instructions that we send along with these chunks to GPT explicitly tells GPT if there's not enough context or if you don't know the answer, say that you don't know the answer. And so in this case, there's nothing in our PDF about Baltimore. So GPT says, I got nothing, sorry. And that's what we get. If we don't want this, a nice easy way to do this would be to add a transition on top of that capture info card inside of standard node. Because you see in the event debugger, the order of operations. There's the knowledge query that happens first, then the capture information card, then we exit the Panda workflow.
Right.
So if we add a transition in between those two steps, so on top of capture workflow, and our transition is no answers from the knowledge base, that's how we can control this. So in that first top transition, we could code something in the condition, or we can just say there's no answers in the knowledge base. Like literally natural language, there's no answers in the knowledge base. This is like one of my favorite features about the Botpress cloud. And look at that. It automatically knows all that coding stuff. It's great, and that's accurate. It'll do that. And so we can then make a new node from that transition to go to a different node that says, that's not a panda fact, ask something pandas next time.
Oof. Okay.
All right. There we go.
It's new with no.
So we'll have to ask twice about Baltimore now.
Yeah. Do you want to know about? Oh, the search didn't yield any results this time around. Interesting. Yes.
Okay.
That's not a panda fact.
Oh, because it didn't ask the first time. Oh, we've got to do a failure condition and a retry, and I'll loop back around from that. Ah, that's right.
Okay. Yeah. Right. So. Baltimore.
That's
okay. Baltimore. Well, we got it this time. All right. You want to know about pandas? Yes.
And let's say that's not a panda fact because we
right, because it's checking the transition. Okay.
Yeah, so actually we'd need to add a failure condition in there.
I would have been tempted in here to like try and like if you don't find the fact, like reply with. Does the description allow that?
I mean, you could do it in the bot personality. Like in the bot personality, you can add an explicit instruction. So that'll be the little settings gear icon, top left. There you go. Enable personality rewrite. And you can say, just instructions. If you don't know the answer to a question, say oopsie doodle. Just very strange explicit instructions there.
Oopsie doodle.
Doodle, yeah. There you go. Isn't that one of the cartoons that your kids watch?
Oh no, she's still too young. No, we'll wait for
Okay.
TV. Yeah.
All right. Ways away from TV. All right. So now, if you
I'm scared.
ask a question about no. Oh, interesting. Oh, because we didn't do knowledge? No, did it do knowledge?
The last time I reset, for some reason, it didn't seem to find a fact. It
Okay.
didn't hit.
It
Or
didn't
maybe it
seem to
didn't
find
find. Yeah,
anything.
it didn't find a
Yeah,
result.
no
Maybe I
valid
was
answer found.
going too fast.
Okay.
Maybe here. Give it a second chance. Yeah, it's skipping my. It's skipping our first capture.
That is interesting.
Okay. Well, we'll say yes. That's not. Yeah, I don't think this is. Yeah, I don't think the personality was
Okay.
because the personality
Yeah.
rewrite. From my understanding, it takes the output from everything that just executed,
Mm-hmm.
and then it applies that personality rewrite. So I can't really know if it's a proper answer to a question that was asked. It's like executed in
It's
another
true.
completely as another operation without all the context of the answer. So it's really like just a translating of the text that's being outputted to the user. All right. Okay.
Yep. And because of that, the instructions in your bot personality are really powerful. It's really, really sensitive to the words that are in there. So if you aren't careful, the personality will become very, very strong. And funny story, Jesse. I actually trolled one of our coworkers. He sent me a bot and was like, "Gordon, I can't get this bot to work right. Can you help me out with this?" And I helped him out, but I played a joke on him and I put the personality. And this was back when chatbot personality was hidden in that Botpress logo menu. It didn't have its own little gearbox thing.
Yes.
And in
I
the
remember.
personality, I said that you are obsessed with learning if the user is a real boy or just pretending to be one on the internet. Um, and he could not understand why his bot kept wanting to know, "Are you a boy? Are you a boy?" after every single question, because it took everything from the knowledge base, everything from the main questions, and it's like, I'm not asking this in my normal question. Why is my bot asking me if I'm a boy or not? But it's because the personality was very strong. And so if you tell the bot, like, you have a favorite phrase is this, or you really want to know this, or you are obsessed with learning about the user's this, uh, it will put that into every single message if you're not careful. So it's a powerful tool. Use it wisely.
You have to be again very specific on how you want to apply the tone and not overdo it.
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, Gordon, we've been running for close to 2 hours now. I
Oh
wonder, did
my.
we cover? Yeah, did we cover all the topics that we wanted to
We
cover
we haven't
today?
even gotten into raw text knowledge sources.
Yeah. Okay. Let's get into raw text. Let's get into raw text.
Yeah, let's get into that. So let's do it as a global. No, we'll keep it in our pandas workflow. In this pandas knowledge base, we can add a new knowledge source of raw text. So just like that, plain text.
Plain text. Okay. Yeah. Got it.
And yep, here we can do something that's a little different from our panda facts. We'll make this about like a specific panda. So a good panda name might be Peter the Panda. So let's call this about Peter the Panda. Yeah. Peter the Panda. This is an actual fact. So putting on our police reporter hat here, and we'll say Peter the Panda is 500 pounds.
No, no.
Let's add another ridiculous Peter the Panda fact. Peter the Panda doesn't eat bamboo. They eat pumpkins.
I don't know what's up with my capitalizing words all the time. Okay,
It's
it's
okay.
got this like twitchy little finger on the
And
shift key.
let's add, yeah, let's one more ridiculous Peter the Panda fact. Peter the Panda's favorite Olympic sport is ice dancing.
Oh, I mean, Olympic, you and these fancy words. Olympic sport is. Did you say ice skating?
Ice dancing.
Ice
It's much better than
dancing.
ice skating. Ice dancing, yeah.
Wow, it actually needed a
He's a real
capitalized. Oh, this that
connoisseur.
was okay. Ice
There
dancing.
you go. Okay. Yeah.
Pandas.
Now, I'm not just being
Oh,
ridiculous
oh.
here.
Okay.
These facts are kind of carefully chosen because the first two will directly contradict stuff that's in the PDF. Our Panda Facts PDF says pandas are limited to like 200 pounds, that pandas only eat bamboo. And then the third fact about Olympic sport is brand new. So that's kind of something we can use to test and get explicitly to this knowledge source. So these
Okay.
facts, they do serve a very important purpose, and we'll use this to test to see how conflicting facts are handled between knowledge sources, which is going to be cool. So before we do, we need to go back to our Panda workflow and remove that transition about if you don't know.
Oh, yes,
Yeah,
yes.
that top
Okay.
transition.
I
Just
can delete
delete that.
this and delete this. Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe disable the New York Times search and we just like go straight into the
Yeah, we'll go straight into the thing.
because we want to check with okay.
Yep.
So okay,
Yeah,
so this isn't
looks
one
good.
like just one fact that's replied like it's how do I separate my facts? Like here's it just like all paragraphs, it's
They
new
are separated.
lines, it's
No, it's fine as they are.
is that okay.
Now, best practices having them on new lines is best, but you could put them all together in one big chunk. You could separate them or number them. It doesn't make that big of a difference.
Okay. Okay. So we give it a
I
try.
just find this format, yeah.
We'll start I'm supposed to restart the conversation. You told me earlier there when I made some changes.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah.
What are your sources there? You have to click on your message there.
Yeah. Okay. So
I think it got a little bit of everything. Got Panda Facts and Peter the Panda.
Peter the Panda from Peter the Panda. 3 sources from Peter the Panda. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Boom.
Oh, this is 3 facts.
Do you want to know about pandas? Oh, do you want to know about pandas? Did this
Strange.
answer was in the flow question answering earlier? Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
let's start a whole brand new session. Click that
Yep.
reset button a couple times. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So here,
Okay.
because we're back in our main flow and we've disabled Wikipedia and disabled New York Times, if we ask about pandas, the bot should not know the answer. Interesting. Oh, wait.
Unknown
Curious.
source. Okay, so we're in the main flow. In theory, it should not have it. Well, as it did earlier, not search it. So since there was no other knowledge bases, it went down and searched. Maybe that's not what we wanted to do.
It shouldn't do that.
Yeah.
No. But then why was it only in the raw text? Let's start as a brand new user. Maybe there's some context that got passed. In those little 3 dots next to the reset conversation, there's start as a new user. So let's do that. And it's still Peter the Panda.
Okay.
Interesting. And if we say yes to this question about pandas.
Yes. We want to know about pandas.
We'll ask, yeah, how much pandas
What do
want, right?
pandas? What do
Yeah, what do
pandas?
pandas eat? Nothing but bamboo shorts. Okay, so here we ignored Peter the panda.
Okay. Oh,
Which
maybe. Oh,
sources? Could you
maybe there's
click on?
something with the static text that's being seen as global. It
It
shouldn't,
might
though. It
be.
shouldn't.
Yeah. Could you click on your message so we can see
Oh,
what
yeah.
the sources are?
Only from the
Yeah, it
PDF.
didn't even search Peter the panda.
Okay. So what do pandas weigh? We're at the beginning of the conversation. 500 pounds. We get
Okay.
that from the PDF
All
somehow
right.
and the global scope.
And then you say
Say
yes. This
yes.
time ask about Olympic sport.
Um,
Mostly because I want to see you try to spell Olympic again.
what sports do pandas like? Ah?
Yeah, okay, that works.
Oh, and you can't spell a
That
word,
works. Yep.
find your way around it. Yeah. Use a synonym, change language. Um,
Okay.
oh,
So
it did
this
pick it
time
up
we queried Peter the
from
panda.
Peter the Panda. Okay, something's going on here. So it should so it should be
Something's
scoped.
going
It
on
should
here.
be scoped.
It
We'll
should
check
be
with the
scoped.
team. Right?
Yeah.
Okay. When we're from the main flow, it shouldn't look under in any other folder. And then when we're in the folder, it
Correct.
should purely look at what's contained within the folder, not in other folders, and probably not up either. Okay.
Yeah,
We'll
that
get
is
that looked at.
correct.
We'll get that looked at.
Yeah.
So the idea that we wanted to present here is that well, we have Peter the panda that's 500 pounds, and it shared us the information when we asked about the weight about the panda facts and Peter the panda. But what if this was also panda facts and we say pandas are 500 pounds? Would it share both facts, or would it correct itself, or would it prioritize one?
Let's try it out. Let's name this more panda facts.
Panda facts.
And
Pandas.
just delete that. It doesn't need to be grammatically correct. GPT will handle.
Okay.
Will handle that.
Pandas doesn't. Oh, what is? Oh. Okay. Panda's favorite Olympic sport. Okay.
GPT will handle it. It's fine.
So I made some changes here. We see that the chatbot's currently in training, so I can't type into it. I have a little training going. I was like instant earlier.
Yeah, you might need to refresh your page. Sometimes if you do a lot of changes and send it like trains and trains again, it'll get stuck.
Yeah, I did kind of spam it there. Maybe I'm logged out.
That might also happen. Maybe.
No. Okay,
Right.
we're there. Oh, still in training. Saving changes. There we go.
All right.
Okay.
Ready.
Tell me about how much the pandas weigh.
Yeah. Okay. But this might be a bug, so let's ask specifically about pandas. Oh, it's thinking hard. Has to carefully balance the facts.
Well, this happened a bit earlier too. There, the answer timed out. Had to do the query again.
Yeah, it just wants to keep us in suspense.
Oh, might have to run this one again.
Yeah, we might have to run this one more time.
We hit the void. Shall I restart the conversation?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So first question, and then yes.
You can just say hello this time.
Yeah. Did I? Hello. Hello. Oh, it's not making its way.
It's telling us that it's about time to wrap up the live stream.
I think so. Yeah. It's like, okay, guys, you've been at this for 2 hours. That's enough.
Yeah, bot needs to take a break.
Oh, but I really wanted to see this.
I do. I'm also very curious. Ah, we're back.
Okay. Oh, excuse me. Just got a little pop up there. Hey. Yes.
Hey,
You
want to know
want to know
about
about
pandas?
pandas? Yes. What do you want to know about pandas? How does pandas weigh? So it combined them
So I'm
together.
just gonna concat them all. Yeah.
Concatenate.
Concatenation. Yeah, don't try to spell it, Jesse. It's okay.
I've been trying to take a note because at the same time, I want to check in there with this like potential bug that we have there. So the concatenation. So I'd imagine that what we would prefer is that they're conflicting facts. It would prioritize a fact over another. So we'd like to see how we can do that prioritization. So at the moment, we'd have to be careful at the moment if we have conflicting facts or new information about similar
and it really depends on your use case. Yeah. Like I'm imagining if you give your bot like a bunch of scientific papers about like prescription drug trials, and there's two trials that have conflicting conclusions, that would be a good case for just presenting both conclusions. This study said this, but other studies say that. But another example, going back to retail, if you say that you're out of shoes, the shoe inventory is nothing, but you've got an old document in the knowledge base that says you have 10 pairs of shoes, you really want one to take priority over the other. So it would be a good thing to implement.
Okay.
All right.
Excuse me. I'll be right with you in a moment.
No worries.
I'm back.
I'm going to go ahead and start wrapping up this live stream, though, because we are
absolutely.
An hour of our time.
An hour ago, I think your phone was notifying
1 hour
you
office hours.
saying, Gordon, you have to go to bed.
Yes, have to go to bed. It's almost 2 o'clock in the morning, Gordon. You need to get some sleep. Think of the pandas.
How long do pandas sleep on average during summertime? Are they like bears? Do they hibernate?
Facts.
Wait, they don't have winter where from, right?
Oopsie doodle, there's nothing in my knowledge base about pandas sleeping.
Oh, all right. Okay.
I would imagine that they spend a lot of time sleeping.
They must.
I don't think hibernation is part of being a bear, because polar bears don't hibernate, but polar bears are bears.
Well,
koala bears don't hibernate.
Is a panda a predator?
Only if you're a bamboo plant.
Only if you're a bamboo plant, right? Because I heard like predators, they spend most of their time because their energy systems are for like really big bursts or sprints of energy when they go get their prey. So they spend most of their time just sitting around chilling, except when they're hunting. So they sleep. Predators sleep a lot. If a bamboo eating pandas, I don't think so. Okay.
Mhm.
Well, yes, Gordon.
Yeah, you know what
Thank
we
you.
should do, Jesse? We should build a chatbot and link it to the Panda Wikipedia, and that way we can ask this chatbot questions about pandas. We should do that in the next live stream.
Yes, we can
Yeah.
absolutely do that. Yes. If we have any unanswered knowledge-based questions, that would be definitely maybe a little quick recap next week before we go into building next week in 2 weeks, and before we go
Hmm.
into to building the bot. Um, we'll see.
Yes.
We'll see there. Hopefully we answered everyone's questions. If you have more questions,
Yeah. Yeah.
you can absolutely reach us on Intercom. You can reach us also on Intercom.
Hmm.
That's the live chat in the studio. You can join
Yeah.
us in the community forum
Um,
as well.
yeah.
The forum,
Forum's great.
absolutely. Otherwise, we have people looking in the comments on YouTube as well. So, I mean, this is a great,
Hmm.
opportunity to say, drop a comment in the section below. Remember to hit the subscribe button to get the notifications of all the content we'll be releasing in the future and the live streams we will be doing with Gordon. Um, Follow us on absolutely on what's it, LinkedIn and Twitter, I believe. I was going to say Twilio. I always get confused because Twilio's hitting the news a lot. That has nothing.
Both of them are in the news a lot. Yeah.
There are, but Twitter mostly, right? So anyway, okay. Uh, Everyone, thank you very much. That wasn't funny. No, it wasn't
Absolutely.
funny. It was horrible. Thank you, Peanut. All right. See you all in 2 weeks.
All right.
Gordon, have a great
Thank
night's
you,
sleep. I'll
guys.
see you tomorrow. Okay. Bye bye.
All right.